to Intermediate Level English Language Arts. And now we move on to the next topic, identifying and using transitional expressions. Alright? First things first, guys, what are our objectives? Our objectives are simple. Number one, identify transitional expressions. Alright? Next, we also would like to understand the importance of using transitional expressions. And the third one is to be able to use transitional expressions. Alright? So, let's jump right in. First things first, right? What do you mean by expression? Okay. Basically, when you say expression, these are things that you say, right? To be able to express expressions, right? So far, we've done so many things already regarding the different sentences, how they are structured. We also previously discussed about sentence patterns, alright? Wherein we have seen how they are structured. This time, we're going to be looking at other things other than just sentences and words. We're going to be looking at other things to make things useful, especially as you come to a close with this fourth quarter. Your final project would be something that really involves using these things. So first things first, guys. What is a transitional expression? A transitional expressions are basically words or phrases that show the relationship between sentences and paragraphs. It shows you the relationship of it. Okay, is it the next? Is it the one after or before? Right? That's how transitional expressions work. Alright. Okay. So, why use transitional expressions? Why? Right? We have two very basic reasons. Number one, transitional expressions are used so that the listeners or the readers can follow with the text or the speech you're giving. This is very important, especially when you're giving a speech. All right, transitional expressions are very important. And next, right, without them, they wouldn't know, as in the listeners or the readers, wouldn't know if what you're saying is the order of things, or a cause, or an effect, or an example, or a sequence, a contrast, or a comparison, an addition, or a conclusion. So basically, transitional expressions are there to make your readers or listeners understand. Alright? Okay, so what are your different transitional expressions? You have transitional expressions to show time sequence. You have those that show cause and effects, contrast, comparison, addition, conclusion, and example. Let's go through them one by one, shall we? First things first, guys, right? Um, Time sequence. Time sequence basically is to show, right, the order of things. Is it the first, second, third, fourth, right? Okay. Is this what happened first? So these are examples: before, finally, first, meanwhile, furthermore, in addition, moreover, likewise, then, next. Okay. Like for example, how do you use before? Before I tell you my opinion, let us first clarify the terms. I actually used two different time sequences there, but let's go through the first one that I used, before. So before anything else, alright? That's how it works. So that means what we're going to discuss is not gonna happen first. Rather, this is what's gonna happen. It's gonna happen after. After what? Clarifying the items or the terms. That's how you use the time expression for sequence, time sequence. Next, you also have order of importance. So you use these to show which is much more important, your priorities, which is prioritized, which is much more important, right? Your examples here, we have first, second, mainly, more important, most important, right? These are different order of importance. How do you use them? Example, the institution must comply with these, mainly the last mentioned. That means there were probably a lot of things mentioned. A lot. And that the first thing or the priority, the one that you prioritize the most, that is much more important, is basically that one, the last mentioned. Okay? That's how it works for order of importance. Next, we also have cause and effect. Alright. This is to show basically the cause and effect. Simple as that, right? So we have as a result, because, consequently, for, so, therefore, thus, hence. These are all different cause and effects, right? And how do you use this? Example, everyone becomes desperate, thus the current situation. So you see the cause, you see the effect, right? When you say thus, this is the effect. Everyone becomes desperate, thus the current situation. This is what's happening right now, right? That's how it works. Next, you also have contrast. Contrast is difference, the differences. Okay? What are the examples of contrast you have? But, however, in contrast, on the other hand, unlike, yet, though, although, alright? When you like to show there's a difference, yes, use contrast. Example, other countries are experiencing better healthcare in contrast to our country. Here we see in contrast, right? Unlike our country, okay, the other countries are experiencing better healthcare. That's how it works. Yes? When you would like to show a difference. Next, we have comparison. Unlike contrast, comparison is you're showing similarities. Like, example, you have as or in the same way, or likewise, or similarly, also, at the same time. Okay? These are different um, transitional expressions to show that there's something similar. Example, we're experiencing a lot of problems as we have at the beginning. What we have in the beginning is the same as what we're experiencing right now. As. That's how it works. Comparison. The same. Like. Alright? Next. We also have addition. Addition, right? You'd like to add more things. Example, you said something, said this, said this, said this, said this, said this, said this. Right? And then you'd like to add something else, right? You would say um, also, or in addition, or besides, or moreover, or additionally. Example, the death rates are increasing. Moreover, the infected are rapidly growing in number 2. Here we see, right? In addition to that, in addition to the death rates are increasing, well, there are a lot, the infected are also rapidly growing, right? That's how it works. You have an addition. You have something to add. Next, we also have conclusion. Conclusion, guys. Here's how it works, right? You'd like to conclude it. You'd like to end it. You'd like to you'd like to end a train of thought, or you'd like to end your speech or your write up or written output, whatever it is. What are the conclusions that you could say, or how? What are the transitional expressions you can say? You could say finally, or in conclusion, or in short, or in brief. Usually you say in short, this means it's like a summary already, or when you say in brief, this is in summary. Example, the rapid increasing numbers of those infected and affected continues to grow even more rapid. In short, we are not doing well with our current protocols and actions taken. Okay. By the way, that should be rapidly. My apologies. I'm gonna fix that later on as when I post it later on. Okay. But anyways, right. In short, so that means in summary, this is what's actually happened. Okay, that's how you use it. Conclusion. You usually find this at the end. At the end of your write-ups or your speeches, you're usually gonna say these. And then last. The last one is example. Alright? Very important too. Transitional expressions are used to show that you're giving an example. So what are the different transitional expressions you can use? You could say for example, or for instance, or namely, or in fact, or indeed, or specifically, or that is, or to illustrate, right? Very important as well when you're, especially when you're giving out examples. Sometimes people might not understand. Oh, okay, that's an example, or oh, okay, that's just an illustration. All right. So basically, use this to show that you are saying an example already. Example: the actions taken were not properly thought of. For example, the late decision to close all flights coming in our country. Right? For example, okay, you use these again to show that you are giving out an example. All right? Okay? All right. And these are your different transitional uh, expressions. Again, they're very important so that you are able to make sure that the people who are listening or who are reading would understand what you are doing or what you are saying or what you're trying to state. Okay? That way they can follow through, they will not get confused, and everything will be nice and clear with all of them. Alright? And basically, this ends our lesson for identifying and using transitional expressions.